welcome everyone to Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. My intention is to be brief tonight. Because tomorrow is Gaur Purnima, so it's a busy day for everyone. So I'd like to see everyone get nice rest. But let us see how far my intentions will be fulfilled. We'll continue where we were speaking this morning. Lord Caitanya, whose appearance date is tomorrow, according to the great Vedic scriptures, 4,500 years before his appearance, the prophecy of the Lord's advent was written in Srimad Bhagavat, Upanishads, Mahabharata, and other such great scriptures. Lord Caitanya had just been to Kuliagram, one of the islands of Navadvip. This morning we heard how anyone who came to him with a humble and sincere heart was given forgiveness of all of their trespasses and given the highest perfection of yoga, divine love. Kulia represents the magnitude of compassion of the Supreme Absolute Truth. In every great religion or spiritual system in the world, forgiveness is one of the primary qualities that a sincere spiritual aspirant must cultivate. In the Bible, Jesus was asked, if someone trespasses you, commits offense to you 7 times, according to our scripture, it says they should be forgiven. What do you say? He said, even if someone offends you 70 times 7, you should offend them. You should forgive them. And we find Haridas Thakur, who is the Nam Acharya, a very special position. Because in this age of Kali, the most highly prescribed method of self-realization is the chanting of God's names. Kalero dostanide rajan asti heka mahan guna kirtanar eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brachet. This age of Kali is an ocean of faults. People are so spiritually weak, so easily attached to selfish pursuits. And the value system of people becomes so degraded. People are considered great because of the appearance of their bodies, the strength of their bodies, the power of their intellect, the quantity of their wealth or property, their power over others. But real greatness is in one's character, one's love for God, one's compassion to others, one's selfish willingness to serve. So this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. But there's one special good quality the Bhagavat Purana tells, that anyone who simply takes the name of God, Krishna, with all sincerity, will attain the highest perfection of liberation. Haridas Thakur is, for all time, the teacher of how to attain this perfection by chanting God's names. And time and again, in the story of his life, the primary quality he exhibits is forgiveness, compassion. During a time when India was very much ruled over by the perverted conception of the caste system, where according to one's birth one was labeled for life, not in a way to uplift, but rather to push people down. Because of birth, people were given no rights, socially, spiritually. It was a helpless, hopeless situation for such people. But the Varnashram system of the Vedas is just the opposite. It gives a very refined scientific explanation according to one's natural qualities, one's propensities, how one can attain perfection in life by performing their duties, and how every part of the body is precious. The head, the legs, the arms, the belly, and all parts of the body are meant to work together for the whole body. It's not that one part thinks I'm better than you. Legs, stay down. No, the head needs the legs, and the legs need the head. And every part can attain the ultimate perfection by sincerely taking shelter of the Lord. This is Bhagavad Gita's teaching. Whoever we are, wherever we are, if we take shelter of the Lord, we can attain the greatest perfection in this very lifetime. It gives ultimate, total hope for everyone, young or old, from any race, from any caste, from any sex, from any background. Even if our background is notorious, criminal, sinner, there's still infinite hope if we reform our character and take shelter of the Lord. Because the name of God is so powerful, so pure, that if we chant sincerely, it can cleanse us from all the propensities, not only from the reactions of our past karmas, but from the propensities to do those things again. The power of the name of God is to awaken love within our heart, where we become instruments of that love through our actions, our words, and our thoughts. Because Thakur Haridas was born in what was seen a low birth, he was condemned again and again wherever he went. He was criticized. People tried to destroy his reputation. They tried to destroy his life. They wanted to put him in prison. And eventually they sentenced him to death And they beat him in 22 marketplaces with the intent to kill him. And it was the king that ruled over him with powerful executioners. And all the time, Haridas was happy. He was praying to Krishna. Don't hold this against them. That they're beating me, they're spitting on me, they're kicking me, they're smashing me with canes, they're trying to murder me. Don't hold it against him. Give them love of God. Let me just go through this. And he didn't just do this as a show. It wasn't a drama performed at the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. It was real life. This is him. Forgiveness, compassion is paramount among divine qualities. And where does that come from? Janmadyasya yataha. The Brahma Sutra tells in the first aphorism that everything emanates from the Absolute Truth. And whatever compassion, whatever power of forgiveness, whatever power of love, whatever good qualities are in anyone, Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. It's because we're a tiny part of God. The pure soul has all good qualities. It is the nature of life. Wherever there's a living force, wherever there's life, there's the presence of the Atma, the soul. Whether it's in any type of variety of human beings or in animals, birds, fish, reptiles, insects, plants, trees, wherever there's life, consciousness, growth, that is the symptom of the presence of the soul. And all souls are equal in their pure original essence. Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Every soul is a part of God. Just like there are infinite sun rays emanating from the sun. And every sun ray is a part of the sun, qualitatively one with the sun, but in small portion. So wherever there is life, the inherent nature of that life force is all good, all pure, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So we read about saintly people, holy people, or just good people in this world. Their kindness. Krishna's Karuna Sindhu. He is an unlimited, vast ocean of compassion. And that gives infinite hope. Because whatever bad we've done, whatever immoralities, whatever illusions, whatever ignorance may be covering our soul at this time or in the past, if we take shelter of the Lord, it's nothing. The Lord's name is so powerful. It's infinitely greater than any negative things we've ever done. So in Kulia, Lord Chaitanya demonstrated this. Thousands of people were coming. People who were really offensive. People who even hated the Lord, Chaitanya. They hated him. They criticized him. They intended to beat him, to punish him with malice intent. They tried to totally destroy the lives of the Lord's beloved devotees. These are the kinds of people that were coming. They were talking about Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who came to help them in the most condescending words. Spreading around town that he was a faker, he was a cheat, he was immoral, he was sinful, he was proud, arrogant, he should be punished. All his devotees should be punished, killed. But when they came to him with sincere hearts, we're sorry, please give us your mercy. With great happiness, he gave them ecstatic love of God, cleansed them forever of any anarthas, any negativity within their hearts. He liberated their souls. So this story is very much a prominent foundation to spirituality. That we ourselves, by our own endeavor, it's very difficult to remove all of the dust and the dirt of lust and envy, anger, arrogance, greed, illusion that covers our hearts. But if we turn to the Lord who has appeared in his name with a sincere heart, all of these things could be cleansed. Cheto darpana marjana. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after about a week in Kulia, he continued his journey to Vrindavan. Interesting, his purpose was to go to Vrindavan. These stops were just details. His cleansing, forgiving, purifying very, very bad people and giving them ecstatic love of God by the hundreds and thousands was just a detail. This is Lord Chaitanya. And he carried on toward Vrindavan. On the way, he came to a town called Ramakeli. There were many scholars, Brahmins, pious people who lived there. But it was also the residence of the Mughal king, the Nawab Sayyan Shah. He was a person who, from his birth and his training, he learned to hate anyone different than himself. And religion, which is meant to create peace, love, equal vision, when it is misrepresented, it's one of the most powerful forces in the world to influence people to be the complete opposite of what it's supposed to do. So Nawab Sayyan Shah, he was the Mughal king of Bengal. And he viciously, violently hated Hindus. He wreaked fear in their lives. In various places that he went, and it was known by everybody, he destroyed thousands of Hindu temples. He destroyed deities broke them into pieces, broke them into powder just to show the superiority of his religion. The power that his God had over other gods. This was his ego. And he outlawed any public demonstration or any public practice of any religion except his own. And he had powerful military to enforce it. So Lord Chaitanya came to Ramakeli, where Nawab Sayyan Shah lived. His palace was right there. He was there for about five days. Nobody knew he was there that much except his devotees. But soon, people started hearing that Lord Chaitanya was there. They came to see him. And Lord Chaitanya told them right in the streets, "Let us do Kirtan." Soon thousands of people were there. And Mahaprabhu cried out, "Haribo!" And they were chanting. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu induced them all to dance. And he danced. And soon there were tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And Lord Chaitanya kept inducing them by raising his arms, "Chant, chant!" And they chanted louder and louder and louder until the entire Ramakeli was inundated. You couldn't hear anything else in the whole town except the chanting of the holy name. And the people were so inundated by the grace of God coming through Kirtan, they were fearless. They knew the king was hearing. They knew his history. They knew what he did. They saw what he did. They knew his military was everywhere and there were police everywhere. But they had no fear. They had no concern. What to speak of Lord Chaitanya? He was simply laughing. Dancing along with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people doing Kirtan. And what an ecstatic Kirtan that was. One policeman, military police, he happened to see the Kirtan and Lord Chaitanya. And he went back to the king, Nawab Sayyan Shah. He said, "I saw what's happening out there. I've never seen anything like it." King said, "What is it?" He said, "I want to know everything." He said, "There's this sannyasi. He's a Swami. I've never seen anything like a person like this. He has a very, very tall body. His complexion is resplendent like molten gold. His face is radiant like hundreds of full moons. His eyes, they are like lotus petals, so large they practically extend to his ears. His nose, like a sesame flower, his lips are bright red, his teeth are like pearls. His neck is like a lion, his shoulders like an elephant. His arms, they're like beautiful golden pillars that extend below his knees. His eyebrows are like the bows of Kamadev. And how he affects people's lives. From his eyes, torrents of tears are pouring like rivers. His hair stand on end. Sometimes I see him jump up and go into the ecstasy of some spiritual trance, and he falls to the ground and rocks break under him. But yet his body is soft like butter. And there are hundreds and thousands, if not millions of people who are all chanting in Kirtan these names of Krishna day and night. He has such power over these people that no one goes home for days at a time. Nobody's eating. Nobody's sleeping. Nobody's doing anything except weeping and crying and chanting the names of Krishna. I have seen many swamis, I have seen many yogis, I have seen many philosophers, I have seen many mullahs, I've seen so many people who come to our village, our town, but I've never ever seen anyone like this. His bodily features are so beautiful, and the love that emanates from his heart is like an ocean that's conquering everybody's minds. He doesn't give anything to anybody, but they're giving their lives, their souls, their everything to him. And all he wants them to do is go on chanting the names of God. I've never seen anything like it. That's my report to you. Now Sayyan Shah called Keshava Khan, who was actually a great devotee, but who was one of the high ministers of the Nawab. And he said, I heard about this Swami that's come. I want you to tell me about him. What does he look like? What does he do? Why does he do it? Why does he have such influence over these people? I heard that there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people who are following him, doing anything he says, and they're all chanting God's names in my kingdom. Tell me exactly what's happening. Keshava Khan knew that Nawab Sayyan Shah was so cruel, so violent. He was afraid that if he heard the truth, he may attack and try to hurt the Lord and kill all the devotees. So he said, who told you all these rumors? I know exactly what's happened. This Swami who's come, he's simply a very poor beggar. That's all. Poor beggar. There's a couple people around him. He doesn't even have any money to eat. He just goes door to door trying to get some food. Hardly anyone even gives him food. So don't even listen. There's no significance about this person whatsoever. Just a poor beggar. Now Sayyan Shah became very angry. He said, how dare you call him a poor beggar? This is a great offense. I know who he is. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who the Vedas call Krishna, who the Holy Quran call Koda, that same supreme absolute truth, that supreme person has come to my kingdom to reveal his highest ecstasies, to reveal compassion and spread love of God to everyone and anyone without discrimination, and you're calling him a poor beggar? How dare you? He said, I'm just the king of one kingdom. He's the king of all the universes. And you call him a poor beggar? If I don't pay the people who work for me for 6 months, they won't work for me anymore. But he doesn't pay anybody anything. And he has hundreds of people, hundreds and thousands, millions of people giving their lives to him. No one but the Supreme Lord has this power. Therefore I declare, if any policeman, if any soldier, if any Qazi, if anyone gives any trouble to him, then I will personally end that person's life. I proclaim as a law within my kingdom that this Swami, Sri Krishna Caitanya, I know his name. That he is free to teach anything he wants. He's free to do Kirtan anywhere he wants. He's free to go anywhere he wants. And he's free to deliver as many people's lives as possible through his congregational chanting of the holy name. He sent Keshava Khan away. Then the Nawab, the king, called Rupa Goswami, one of his chief ministers, and asked him, this Sri Krishna Chaitanya, what do you know about him? Please tell me. And Rupa Goswami said that, what can I tell you about him? Except whatever you have is only by his mercy. Whatever, all the success you have in being the king and conquering other lands is only by his grace. Whatever you know, whatever you do is only because of his kindness. He's the supreme absolute truth, the source of everything, the controller of all controllers. But why are you asking me? You're the king. You're supposed to be the representative of God. You should know these things. Whatever is in your heart, know that to be the truth. Then Rupa Goswami went home. Meanwhile, the kirtan was going on day and night. Nobody could stop. We may think that we're advanced devotees because we like to do a little dance during kirtan. But what we see in Lord Chaitanya's kirtans, no eating, no sleeping, no anything for days and days. This is how he influenced people's hearts. Because they were actually tasting the sweetness of the all-attractive opulence of God. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. That Krishna is absolutely non-different than his name. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashashriya jnana vairagyayashchana sanam bhaga itangana. That all opulences, supreme, complete whole of all beauty, wealth, knowledge, fame, renunciation, everything that is attractive in everyone has its origin and its infinite completeness in Krishna. We know how something or someone who has a little bit of beauty in this world can infatuate our minds. Or in India, a good cricket player, or a good Bollywood actress or actor, how much fame they have because they have, some quality. It's only a spark of Krishna's infinite qualities. He's all attractive. And when people are tasting Krishna's infinite love, Krishna's infinite qualities, it's irresistible. It's forever. It's the ultimate intoxication for the soul. This is the kind of kirtan Lord Chaitanya was doing. So some of these people who heard the Nawab Sayyan Shah speaking about Lord Chaitanya, they became very worried. Because they were thinking, now he's passing this law, but if somebody tells him something negative about Lord Chaitanya, he'll send his armies to destroy. So they wrote a letter. All the pious people of the town, they wrote a letter. Not all the pious, but some of the pious people around, they wrote a letter saying, please, this king is notorious, he's vicious, he's hateful, he's envious, and he's dangerous. Please leave this place before something goes wrong. And they gave the letter to a Brahmin. And the Brahmin went right up through the kirtan of all these hundreds and thousands of people and went to Lord Chaitanya with the letter. But Lord Chaitanya was dancing. And he was completely oblivious to the world. He was totally with Krishna, totally giving Krishna to others. He was in ecstasy, seeing everyone happy, chanting the holy names. You sound like you're getting tired. Please try again. I think you all woke each other up that time. So the messenger was waiting for any little moment. We've all had those experiences where somebody's talking to you and you want to leave and you don't want to be disrespectful to the person, so you're just waiting for even a second break so you can say, actually, I have to go. You don't want to cut the person off when he's in the middle of a sentence, but you're just waiting for just even a 2-second break, just please, and the person goes on and on and on, and you're going like this, and it's going on and on. And, well, he was just waiting for just some little break where Lord Chaitanya would just cast his eyes on him, or just so he could give him the note. He was standing at Lord Chaitanya's side for days. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, his arms were raised, inducing everyone to chant the holy name. Finally, the Brahmin had to go home. So he gave the letter to the devotees and said, please, give this letter to the Lord and tell him it's very dangerous. This king is a very cruel person. Go somewhere else before something happens. So the devotees, they had this message, but they were enjoying the kirtan so much they didn't want it to end. Nobody wanted it to end. But somehow or other, after some time, there was a little bit of worry in some of the devotees' hearts. And then Lord Chaitanya came to external consciousness. And he looked out at everyone and said, you have nothing to fear from anyone. I have descended in this world to liberate the souls. What do you have to fear? I am in the heart of every living being, and I am in the heart of the king. If I do not direct the king to come to me, he cannot come to me. And if he wants to come to me anyway, let him come. I would like to see the king. I want everyone to come. I have descended in this world to inundate it with love of God through the chanting of the holy names. In every town and village, my name will be sung. He said, have no fear. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued the Kirtan of Krishna's names. And all these people, even simple old ladies, and little children, and old men, and everybody, to them, the king, with all his military and force, were no more significant than a piece of straw, because they felt the total shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Kirtan. Finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ended the Kirtan. And he went to the place where he was residing. It was late at night. And Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, whose names at that time were Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, they decided to secretly, incognito, meet Lord Chaitanya. According to the Bhakti Ratnakar, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami they were born of Saraswat Brahmin families, originally from Karnataka. And their father and forefathers and their mother were great, great devotees. They were so incredibly learned, intelligent, and absolutely expert at everything they did that the king of Bengal understood that having them as his chief ministers would keep the population very peaceful, because they would all trust these men. So basically, he gave them the choice. Either I'm going to persecute all your people, or I'm going to be kind to them, to whatever extent, if you become my ministers. And they did such a good job that he accepted them like brothers and actually divided his incredible wealth with them. They were living in magnificent palaces with huge estates. They had everything a material person could possibly want and far more. They were like kings themselves, as far as their power, their wealth, their influence. But they were so humble. All they wanted was to serve Krishna. They were writing Lord Chaitanya letters. We can understand who you are. You're the Supreme Lord. What should we do? We want to serve Krishna. We don't want to be in this situation. And Lord Chaitanya never wrote back to them. Repeated letters he was getting from them. But sometimes swamis are like that. They don't write back. Try writing to one sometime and you might get that experience. Finally, after many, many letters, Lord Chaitanya wrote one sentence. He said, if a wife is attached to another man, then she'll serve her husband very nicely. That was it. That's Swami talk.